What's going on, everybody? Nick Earnshaw here for the shift. Not your normal podcast episode this week, but man, Francisco and I, we have a lot of great content coming your way. I can't wait for the next episode of the podcast because, oh my goodness, it's going to be really cool. We just did our Cooperstown pod. If you want to check that out, that'll be in the description. If you want to check out that link, that video, it was a lot of fun. Pete and Arado from KYW joined us for that episode. Really cool to get up to Cooperstown, and we put together a lot of cool content. And we have more great stuff on the way for our show. So just stay tuned. I would just stay tuned. Be ready for something special. That's what I would do, is be ready for something really cool on the way coming up in the next few days, weeks, months, whatever. We got a lot of good stuff on the way. All right. I just wanted to hop on here, do a quick trade deadline video. Two teams, one American League, one National League. I want to talk about. I'll start with the National League team, and I'm starting with the team I got on the top of my head, the Philadelphia Phillies. Two teams to watch in this one. The Phillies are definitely one. A lot of moves have been happening for the for baseball, but for the Philadelphia Phillies, they've been quiet so far. Waiting on them to make a move. Something needs to happen for them. Dave Dombrowski, we know how aggressive he can be. I think this is going to be a big deadline for the Phillies. I don't think they get maybe the big name, but I do think they add some pieces to this roster. And Dave Dombrowski's in the past, he's given up pieces to go get players. Logan O'Hoppe last year, one of the top catching prospects in baseball, sent him to Los Angeles. So he's not afraid to trade prospects. And the Phillies have kind of filled out their farm system a little bit better over the past couple of years. They have some talent to deal away. I think at the top of the list, Griff McGarry will not be in the Phillies organization anymore. I think it's a given that he will be traded. I think, that he's someone who has some value. And he's not your top prospect, but he's not, outside of your top five. So I think Griff McGarry will be on the move if you are the Phillies. Two things to look for the Phillies. Yeah, I've talked about in the past, I want to see them kind of go after a starting pitcher, but I don't think that's going to really happen here. I think the bat is going to be number one priority, and a reliever. I think that those are the two things that the Phillies will acquire before the trade deadline. We've heard rumors of Cody Bellinger, Teoscar Hernandez, Adam Duvall. Cody Bellinger's off the list now. I mean, the Cubs aren't going to trade him. The Cubs are making moves to further their chances of a wild card spot, and maybe give themselves a shot towards the end here. But listen, Bellinger's off, but those are some of the names that have been floated around the Phillies for a while. Paul Goldschmidt, the big name that's been floated around, still has an opportunity maybe to get traded because St. Louis is kind of unloading as of right now. But this is a Phillies team that needs a bat, man. Trey Turner has not lived up to the $300 million contract that he signed. JT Realmuto hasn't been great this year. Harper's power numbers are down. They're gonna and no Rhys Hoskins. You don't have Rhys Hoskins either. CJ Cron, another name that was thrown around. He's been dealt to the Angels. The Halos, they're going for it this year for some reason I can't understand, but I guess they're trying to keep Ohtani somehow, some way. But if you're the Phillies, if you're watching this team, they're gonna go after a right-handed bat. They need a bat. And it would not shock me if Dave Dombrowski does go out and get that bat. Another reliever, too. I think the Phillies need to add a reliever at this deadline with some of the issues they've had with injuries. Alvarado's been hurt. So Anthony Dominguez hasn't looked sharp since returning from injury. So I think those are the two things that are going to happen. I think that they're going to go after a right-handed bat. Whether it's a gigantic impact or not, they're going to have someone that can play the outfield and swing the bat decently well. And then they're going to have to, shore up that bullpen towards the back end a little bit. I mean, they've gotten great. I mean, Gregory Soto's been great. Craig Kimbrell's been great, but they've had some injuries that they want to probably shore up as they make a run towards the playoffs. All right, my American League team has to be the Baltimore Orioles, another team to watch. Haven't made that big splash yet. But their GM, I believe Mike Elias, he went out and said publicly that, quote, I think that if we are going to make additional acquisition trades, I would bet heavily they are going to be on the pitching side of things. And I wholeheartedly agree. I've said this a couple weeks ago. I said it on the pod. They're going to go after pitching. They need a starting pitcher for sure. Stroman, maybe if the Cubs want to deal him, I don't know. Maybe get something back, get some prospects back, even though they're kind of going for it, kind of not. I don't know. So the Orioles have a lot of depth in their farm system. They've drafted well. They've had guys come up, and they have the ability to spend a little bit here at the deadline. I mean, they've played extremely well, put themselves in the race for the division in the AL East, overtaking the Rays, beating the Rays. So I would definitely expect the Orioles to make a big splash. Now, is Verlander a name? The Mets, they've already traded Max Scherzer? Possibly. Definitely a real possibility, but Kyle Gibson at the top of your rotation. I mean, the names aren't going to stand out on paper for the Orioles. Listen, they've played great baseball. They're a really young team. I don't think they're going to win a World Series this year or anything, but they can make a little bit of noise in the playoffs. And I expect them to go hard after some pitching assets here during the trade deadline. So I'd expect the Orioles to be aggressive before 6 p.m. on August 1st. That's just my opinion. It's just my opinion. I'd expect it. Phillies, Orioles, my two teams to really keep an eye on, as I think they're going to wait probably till the last minute to make these big deals. So two teams to keep an eye on: Baltimore, Philadelphia. Do it. I hope I'm correct in this. Who knows? Just my prediction, just my opinion. But I think this is something that a lot of people may see coming for both teams. And it's going to help them make a run to the playoffs. But that'll do it right here for this quick little short on the shift. I'm Nick Earnshaw. Thank you for tuning in